I'm going to invite Amy and Sarah up. James talked about a 3-legged stool. We talk about a 4-legged stool. Many of you have heard me talk about this before, but we talk about if we're really going to attack this workforce issue, the 4 things that we focus on. One is infrastructure, and James referred to that. You have to have the stuff people need. If you're truly going to try to bring people to your community, if you're truly going to try and grow workforce, you've got to have the stuff people need, and that's the infrastructure. Whether it's childcare, housing, education, right? These are the things that look at it's a non-starter. If you don't have a place for me to move or a person to care for my child or a school district that I'm willing to put my kids in, then, or broadband, the list goes on, right? That's the infrastructure. The second thing that we talk about a lot is those employer resources, right? What are we doing to support employers? The county by no means believes that this is a exclusively county problem. We understand that it's going to take everybody in this room to make progress, but we certainly want to be at the table. This is an effort that the county has kicked off. They're going to talk about OTC Works. The third leg of the stool is what we call on the map. We can do a great job as employers. We can do a great job with infrastructure. But look at, if they don't know we exist, right? If they don't know Otter Tail County is a great place to visit, live, and work, we've wasted our efforts before. And then fourth, and finally, and we're going to talk about this later in the day, is you can do those other 3 things perfectly. You can build the infrastructure, you can have all the employee supports that they need, you can let them know about it, and they can actually drive their car here, be here. But if we're not welcoming, if we don't have welcoming communities, the 4th leg of that stool being welcoming communities, watch how fast they turn around and drive back to the metro. So they're going to really focus on that 2nd leg of the stool. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Amy and Sarah.
Hi. Does it?
I mean, there's left. Oh, you switched it?
Yeah. All right. All right, well, we'll get started here. Again, my name is Amy Baldwin. I'm with Otter Tail County. I'm the Community Development Director for those who I haven't had the opportunity to meet. And as Nick said, we're going to talk about OTC Works, which is kind of our structure for the programs and the efforts that we're taking on as the county, as the Community Development Agency, to make an impact, a positive impact on the workforce challenges that we are experiencing here. We've talked about data. We use data in all of those things, the housing, the childcare, to understand what is the core of the issue that we're facing, and then thinking about how can we kind of turn the needle on making progress on that. And finally, what is the appropriate and effective role for us from more of a government lens to play in that. We can't do all things, but there are some things we can do. And so we really, in talking to our employers, in talking to our education partners, to understand, where is that role for us? And so out of that came OTC Works, which OTC certainly stands for Otter Tail County. I think most know that. But we also, added another layer to that of opportunities, training, and connections. And those are kind of the 3 areas that we'll talk about and just give a quick review of in what we're doing specifically in those areas. So we have 3 action areas that we oriented the work around, and the first is to promote the availability of jobs. Certainly that's kind of a high level piece, but also the resources that are available for our employers, for our education partners, events like this. So how can we help bring information to people and promote that information? So we're just going to talk for 15 minutes here maybe on what we're doing, but the rest of it is bringing new information, new partnerships, new opportunities to all of you here in the room. So really the focus of today is around that. The second area, also part of some of our sessions today, but to help our employers promote their opportunities and be more effective when they're recruiting and working to retain those workers. We heard a lot about culture. We heard a lot about making sure the skills are there for those workers, that they're ready to be effective and engaged in the workplace. And the third area is around creating partnerships. So how can we help improve the occupational readiness of our youth, of those who might be experiencing barriers to employment, and then really thinking about how to align those skills into the future of what are the the job areas of growth and of need within Otter Tail County. So I'll turn it over to Sarah to talk, a little more specifically about ways that we are working to advance those action areas.
Yeah, thanks, Amy. So the first one that she talked about was opportunities, and like she said, it's really promoting not only our employers, because we know most, if not all of our employers are hiring right now, so promoting those opportunities. We do that. Nick mentioned the On the Map efforts, the Rural Rebound. Otter Tail Lakes Country Association is a great partner in that, because they really use messages, again, that talk about, people want to move here for the same reasons that they want to visit here. We have beautiful lakes, we have lots of recreational opportunities, we have great schools. All of those pieces are important communications to relay to folks who are outside of the area. So we really use Otter Tail Lakes Country as our partner in that work to reach a broader audience. The jobs portal is another piece of that, and we've talked about that with lots of folks in the room today, but that is also a partnership effort with Otter Tail Lakes Country Association. So it's a online portal or single feed of the 1,000+ jobs that are available within the county. It's hosted on Otter Tail Lakes Country's website. And it provides a central location for job seekers who are outside of the area, who are not familiar with many of our employers, great employers in the area, to come and kind of just do their own research and find out who's up here, what are the opportunities that exist, and it really provides that central location. The link is up there, but the unique thing about that is it's not another place that you have to send your job. If you're posting your job, there's some nuances to it, but if you're posting your job online, our jobs portal is pulling it in. That means you don't have to send me or Marinopolis, who's our marketing membership director for Otter Tail Lakes Country, you don't have to send us an email to say, can you post this job on your site? It should be being pulled in. If it's not, we're always happy to have that conversation. But again, just adding a piece for our employers to reach that broader audience and not adding any work to their plate. So that's opportunities. The second one is training. So again, Amy mentioned events like this, the Workforce Summit. We have our quarterly workforce convenings that we've been doing for 18 months, a year and a half probably, since we developed our OTC Works strategy. You have cards on your table today. If you're not part of those quarterly workforce convenings, put your name on that card. We'd love to have you join us. Those are quarterly meetings that we do virtually, and we invite our employers and our partners and schools to be part of that. And again, we have speakers who join us for those who are really focused on our 3 action areas as well. So they're sharing an opportunity, they're sharing a chance for training, and they're sharing about a connection that has been made in order to solve some of the challenges that we're facing. So it's a little bit different every quarter, but again, would welcome anyone here who hasn't joined us for those to fill out that card and join us for those in the future. The next one will be in December. This one kind of took the place of this quarter, but we'll do another one in December, so look forward to that. Another piece that we have put together more recently is an OTC Works newsletter. So again, if you're on our list for those convenings, you're also on our list for those newsletters. We share updates through there. We share resources that we're finding out about that maybe haven't reached our employers yet. So it's a really great opportunity to share information with anyone in that list. And then the last one on here is our OTC Works video series with Otter Tail Lakes Country. This is a membership piece of Otter Tail Lakes Country, so I'll kind of just do a little teaser on this. But our employers who are members of Otter Tail Lakes Country Association have an opportunity to sit down and talk to, usually it's Eric, sometimes it's someone else, but usually it's Eric, and he'll just kind of have a conversation, give you an opportunity to tell your employer's story. Why should people who are watching that video, who are likely, a lot of the audience is not in Otter Tail County already, it's many of our visitors, so why should folks be thinking about working for your company? What do you like about your company? What do you like about the area? Really selling your story to them. So that's, like I said, that's a membership benefit of Otter Tail Lakes Country, and that's a new thing that we've also done because we want to give our employers a platform to share that story, because like we heard about culture and those types of pieces, that's not an easy social media post, that is a story. So giving a little bit greater of a platform for our employers to do that. Or no. Sorry.
You're in charge of the clicker, Sarah. All right, so the final area is connections, and that's also the core of what today is about is building connections. We heard from our first panel about working together, making sure we're having those conversations, that we're all around the table and thinking about that. So I'll start with our youth side, and we've spent well over the past year working to develop and now deploying a youth workforce navigation program. We have a great partner in that, Amy Johnson from Cardinal Consulting Solutions, and she has been out pounding the pavement, getting in the front doors of schools, talking to so many of the schools who are here today, as well as our employers. Again, we all need to be talking about this and making sure that information, that those conversations are happening around what and how can we help support those conversations. You'll hear more from Amy later this morning in the speed round that's listed, and then as well there will be a youth breakout session this afternoon. So I won't go into too much detail on there. But again, we also, one piece that will be talked about just to make sure, in case you aren't able to stay with us for the afternoon, is the K-12 Navigator. And I think it was the superintendent from Parker's Prairie who just said, how do we connect the schools and businesses? And that is what the K-12 Navigator is. It's an online solution where businesses can input what offerings they have for youth, whether it's coming in to be a classroom speaker, hosting a tour, whole bunch of different things that I won't go into listing, but then it's searchable so that our schools, our students, our educators, our parents can search for a particular industry or job category and find a pair, because there are so many employers who want to open up their doors to our youth. We know that. So this is a way for them to find each other and be able to search by again, the industry, what they're looking for, as well as distance, because we know Otter Tail County is also a very big county. So we want to have that searchability for distance that folks might be able to travel. So again, stay tuned for more on that today. And we also were successful in partnering with the Department of Labor and Industry and received a youth skills training grant. And that's helping support some of the expenses associated with transportation and just building awareness to bridge, again, our youth with employers. So we also were able to pull some funding in to really escalate and advance what we're able to do with our youth. The second area is the Empowered Worker Program, and we're still in program development with this, but we wanted to talk about it because we are really excited, particularly from the county's perspective, in developing this program. It's going to work to provide skills training and other wraparound support services for those who may have barriers to fully engaging in employment or in the workplace. So that might be transportation barriers. Maybe there is something in their criminal background or from our second chance workforce. How do we better engage them, support them, and make those connections, whether it is a skills development with M-State as an education partner or training partner, as well as providing, again, that additional support to help them be the best that they can be in a career opportunity. So stay tuned for that one. I don't have much more to talk about today, but again, we're working to really find out where could we be additive to what's already happening in with other nonprofits and organizations who are doing similar work. How can we either be additive or really escalate that type of work to make sure everyone is able to participate in the workplace without barriers. And then finally, we are working to develop an in-demand skills training program with M-State. And we heard earlier as well that those leadership skills are so important. That's one of the areas that we'll be launching a program through M-State. They'll be leading it, a 4-part series starting in January around leadership. And so I think it was mentioned, you get someone in the door, if there isn't that leader there who can help support them, promote that employee engagement, create that culture, and express that culture from when someone comes in, they might just walk right out the back door. So how do we make sure once, as employers, that you're able to retain those folks once you're able to pull them in? So you've seen maybe some of the booths set up. We will be doing some drawings later, and some of the prizes will be attendance to that leadership program starting in January. So watch there, you'll hear more about that later. We're also looking at more technical skills. So that's, the leadership training might be considered more on that soft side, but certainly skills development. But we're looking at welding and then continuing that nursing assistant program right now that is funded by the state through early next year. But how can we continue that? Because we have seen success with our long-term care and other healthcare partners. How do we continue to develop that pipeline of healthcare workers? And then welding and some other more technical skills as well that we're looking to get up and running. So those are the final areas that we're looking at. So what can you do to activate and be part of this? Again, we want to just kind of introduce what we're doing, a lot of which you'll hear about more. Again, you can fill out the little form. You can drop it, leave it at your table or drop it back at the registration table. And we'll get you on those distribution lists that Sarah mentioned. And then we've talked about Otter Tail Country Association as well, which is our nonprofit partner. So you can learn more about them and the work that they do around rural rebound and career promotion within Otter Tail County. Marie Nopolis is contact information here. I don't know if we have any of her cards. We don't have any cards for her today. But you can certainly get a hold of us and we can connect you to Marie, or Eric is here today. Eric, yep, there's Eric behind the camera, that can give you more information as well. So we were planning to have a quick break before we go into our next session on childcare, but happy to take any questions. Otherwise, we'll be around all day as well. So any questions?
No questions. Do I see any? Questions are standing between them and their 10-minute break. All right, 10-minute break, and when you get back, we're going to talk about childcare. We've got lots of great solutions coming up, so we'll see you in 10 minutes.